Guys, after 3 years away from the octagon, Jon Jones is back at UFC 285 and he's got a title shot against Ciryl Gane. And you can get in on all the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the UFC and today's show sponsor. If you're a new customer, DraftKings has a winning offer just for you. Sign up for DraftKings using my promo code Sonnen. Put at least $5 on a pre-fight moneyline wager on any fighter, and you will receive an additional $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Want even more action? Combine multiple bets, like which fighter will win, how long the fight will last, and more in a parlay to give you a shot at even bigger winnings. If mobile sports betting is not yet available in your state, DraftKings Daily Fantasy is giving all MMA fans a chance to cash out this weekend. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. New customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code Sonnen. Bet $5 on a pre-fight moneyline wager on any fighter, and you will receive an additional $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Or just click on the link below. Jon Jones just went live takedowns with Bo Nickal. Practice area at a UFC. Do I have your interest? Now, do you want to know who won? Do you want to know how those went? Let me reset the stage. Bo Nickal, who's getting an open workout, he's got to make weight. He's pretty close. He doesn't have to shed a whole bunch of pounds, but he's got to pay attention to the scale. Jon Jones does not have to pay any attention to the scale, just wants to get the blood moving, as they say, just wants to bounce around. You know, you have a flight in, you want to get that jet lag, you want to get that flight off of you. It doesn't matter how short the flight is. Really important that you go and break a sweat. It's something along these lines. You got your team. Sometimes your team didn't come in. Sometimes your team came in. Your team's a flake. Sometimes your team's flaker. They come into a town such as Las Vegas, and then they go and get distracted. You end up in the practice room yourself. Whatever happened in this situation, these two were there at the same time. Now, as wrestling brethren, they go find each other. I must tell you, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And one thing the wrestling community has not done a great job of is acknowledging Jon Jones as their own. One thing that Jon Jones has done a good job of is acknowledging himself as a representative of the wrestling community. And I got to bring that to you. I got all sorts of heat with Jon Jones. But on that one, he's been very consistent, and he's been a gentleman. And he's been very proud of his sport, which is wrestling. And the story of Jon and why his wrestling stopped when it did has never really been told. It's about Jon Jones, who was a junior college wrestler. Yeah, sure, he was the national champion. Yeah, sure, he was undefeated. And sure, he was great. Sure, he signed a full-ride scholarship with Chael Sonnen. But he was a junior college wrestler. That's the end of it. And Daniel Cormier over here was an Olympian twice. That's the way the story's always been told. And that is a true story. But Jon was never forced to stop wrestling, just so you understand. Nobody ever is. Neither was Daniel Cormier after he made those two Olympic teams. He decided that's enough wrestling. And he decided, I'm going to go on and I'm going to move to the mixed martial arts. Jon Jones had that exact same revelation. He just had it after 2 years of college. That's it. There's no difference. And Jon decided, as opposed to pursuing world and Olympic games, I am going to go into MMA and I'm going to pursue the world championship over there in the 205-pound division. So Jon has a great honor and a great association with. And I thought Jon came from Arizona. No, I don't think that. New York. Jon is a New York state champion. People think Albuquerque. They think New Mexico. That's not true. John Dodson was out of there. Carlos Condit came through that state. Joseph Benavidez was the champion out there. In fact, Benavidez had John Dodson in the finals. Do you guys know the story of that match? Interesting one. Look that up sometime. Point being, when Jon gets in the back and he sees a guy like Bo Nickal, a 4-time finalist, university world champion, Olympic alternate, and has got 3 gold medals from the Division I tournament, he probably goes over and says hello. And the way wrestlers tend to say hello to one another is they go up and grab one another. They never go out with a handshake, which is customary in wrestling, both before and after the match. But that's just not how they greet. A wrestler doesn't greet another wrestler. If it's from a foreign country and they don't speak the same language, one wrestler will walk up to the other wrestler and grab his ear. Yeah, he's got a cauliflower, and then he'll point to his own ear, go, look, me too. That was a mistake Mike Whitehead. You guys remember that name? You guys remember Mike Whitehead? We were in Abu Dhabi. I believe the year was 2003, but we were in Abu Dhabi, which took place in Brazil. It was Abu Dhabi, but they did it in Sao Paulo. Mike Whitehead decides to go out. He sees a group of guys. He's by himself. He wants to make friends. So he walks up to one of the guys who has cauliflower ear, and Mike grabs his ear. And when the guy looks at him real fierce, Mike points at himself and says, yeah, I got one too. The guy said, oh yeah. And the guy took a 9mm out and put it right in between Mike Whitehead's eyes. Apparently, he did not care that you have a cauliflower ear. Apparently, the cauliflower ear was a very macho and tough thing. So the fact that Mike came up, 1, touched his, but 2, pointed to his own, the guy thought he was being threatened. Now, I'm just attempting to tell you an interesting story at this point. Let's get back to the takedowns of Jon Jones and Bo Nickal. Now, I wasn't there, and had I been there, you would not be brought in on this. Nobody would be. I would never hear about this. If Jon Jones got some takedowns on Bo Nickal, Jon Jones weighing what he weighs and understanding wrestling MMA, at least in theory, much better than Bo Nickal, who is debuting, would, it wouldn't be much of a story to me. It really wouldn't be much of a story. But if Bo Nickal was to get the best of Jon Jones, particularly the biggest Jon Jones we've ever seen, and particularly I would think that Bo Nickal, as successful of a name as that is, I would think he's got his hat in his hand to a degree. I would think that Bo's walking around backstage at the UFC, walking around the PI, walking around the grounds and the properties, a little bit like a kid in a candy store, a little bit starstruck, a little bit surprised that Jon knew who he was, and even more surprised that Jon's coming over, wants to get a couple of live goes. That's what I would think. Now, we heard the story of how this went because we heard it from Bo. Bo said he came up and he challenged me, and we wrestled. And it went the way that it should have gone. Consider I've lost 1 wrestling match out of 4 trips to the finals, and I got a world title in wrestling. It went the way it should have gone. Okay, fair enough. You have my interest. I can't dispute that. I can't dispute that Bo should have got the takedowns, but I wondered how many they went. And I wondered if Jon went hard in the first one or if Jon was trying to warm up. And I'm wondering after the second one, if Jon started to get pissed off, went real hard for the third one, Bo had to work even harder. Like, I do still want to know how that workout went. I've seen many people try to get the best of Jon Jones. I have seen Olympic wrestlers try to get the best of Jon Jones in MMA. But I've seen Olympic wrestlers try to get the best of Jon Jones in pure grappling as well. I personally have never seen Jon Jones get beat. Not in the ring, not in the practice room. I haven't seen it. It sounds like it happened. I wish I'd have seen it. I appreciate hearing the story, but if anybody's got more details than that, by all means, add on.